Join me right now on Kumite TV is one of the rising strawweights in Australia, Casey O'Neill. How you doing, Casey?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Let's start with your amateur career. In the beginning of your amateur career, back in 2014, you lost the first two fights you had. And
Yeah.
a lot of people would have quit. A lot of people would have gave it up because MMA is not an easy sport. It's the hardest sport on the planet. What kept you pushing forward and eventually knocking off five in a row?
Yeah, I definitely thought about giving up after those first two losses for sure. It was like a really dark place that I got into for a minute there, but I don't know, I think my love for the sport and for fighting and stuff and yeah, it just never went away. So I thought, can't give up now. You got to keep going and eventually, you'll make it. So that's what I did and yeah, it took 2 years off to like get better and stuff and then I came back and yeah, won ever since. So it's been good.
When did everything click for you? Because you came back and you just demolished the competition.
Yeah, so after those first two losses, I looked at everything that I was doing and actually moved gyms as well during that time. So transitioned to a new gym, some new coaches, and yeah, everything just clicked from there. I think we like just became really close, me and the coaching staff, and their style really worked with my fighting style, and yeah, everything clicked and started working in fights, and yeah.
When you decided to turn pro, it seemed like it was difficult for you to find a fight. Did you get frustrated in the beginning?
Yeah, it was really frustrating. Like in amateur fighting, everyone kept telling me like you have to go pro, like it's time to go pro. And then eventually we went pro and then no one wanted to fight. So it was sort of like, am I like, is this gonna happen for me? Like I sat around waiting for a couple of months and yeah, eventually we got someone and then after that one, the same again. Seems like every single fight it takes months to find someone. So it's pretty frustrating, but yeah, thanks to Eternal for always finding someone in the end.
And let's go back to that debut, your pro debut at Eternal MMA 43. It was a couple months back. Talk about that fight and how you thought about the performance you had.
Yeah, that was a good fight. Definitely my hardest fight so far. I felt really good going in. The nerves got to me a little bit being my pro debut, but once the cage door is locked behind you, nothing really matters. I felt like my performance was pretty good, so I was pretty happy with it. Obviously, that's the first fight I haven't had a finish in a while, so bummed that I didn't get the finish. But Amir's a tough chick, so it was good back and forth fight.
Now you got this fight coming up. You got the main event slot in your second pro fight. How did this all come together? This fight against Jada.
Yeah, so obviously we were looking for another fight. Very frustrated not being able to find anyone to fight. Her manager messaged the promoter saying that she really wanted to fight me. So um, we were like, cool, no worries. Whoever it is, we'll take it. And we were meant to be the co-main event, but the main event fell through, and they told me that I was getting the main event slot. So obviously, I was really excited for that. Awesome to have like a female fight as the top fight. So yeah, I'm just really excited for it.
Jada Ketley, is that a name that you have heard before?
Yeah, I wasn't sure who she was until they told me obviously the name. Looked her up and seen that she'd had a couple of Muay Thai fights and stuff like that. But yeah, she's been living and training out of South Africa, I think. So she's not really been like a name in the Australian scene. So new name, but yeah.
Have you watched a lot of her film since knowing that you'll be facing her?
I seen a little bit. There's not too much film of her out there. I think there's like one or two fights that she has that are actually on YouTube. But yeah, I watched a little bit, but mainly when I fight, I like to just focus on myself. I don't really watch too much of my opponents.
All right. Well, focusing on yourself, your training camp for this fight. How long have you been training?
I've been training like I had a fight coming up pretty much since my last fight. I just spent a little bit of time over in Thailand doing the Tiger Muay Thai trials. So I was basically in a fight camp for them, and then I completed them a couple of weeks ago. And ever since I came back, been training hard for the fight. So I would say it's been a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, that I've been training like I had a fight coming up. So you've always got to stay ready, I think, especially as a female with not very many fights around. Anything that pops up, I would jump on. So been ready for a while.
How was that experience going over to Phuket and going through the trials? Because it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it was really hard. Probably one of the hardest weeks of training I've ever had in my life, but it was definitely worth it. I love Thailand. I love Tiger Muay Thai. I had heaps of fun, made friends, and the training was intense, but definitely worth doing 100%. And the end goal to win the contract would have been amazing. So yeah, it was worth it.
Now, your team, talk about your team and the coaches that you have surrounding you, building you up.
So I train currently out of Southside MMA in Brisbane and Matrix Boxing Gym on the Gold Coast. My coaches are Paul Stoiler and Stephen NG. They're both really like renowned at what they do. Like Paul Stoiler is a massive wrestler, jiu-jitsu guy, and he just teaches me so much with my MMA. And Stephen NG is an ex-pro boxer with multiple Australian titles and stuff. So he does all my stand-up, and they work really good as a team. And yeah, I think that I've got great training partners in both sides, stand-up and wrestling. Everything comes together pretty well, so it's all going good.
Do you work with a lot of girls, or is it mainly the guys that you're sparring?
It's mainly guys. There's a couple of girls that come and go throughout, but I have never had really like a consistent female training partner before. So mainly just get in there and mix it up with the guys.
How you like that? How you like having just guys? This is just such a common thing throughout MMA is women that kind of train with all men. And how you like that? Would you want more girls to come along so you could kind of get a better look, a better feel?
I like training with girls, but it's definitely more full on. Like I feel like every time I spar with a girl, it's really feisty. Like with the guys, there's not very many emotions behind it and stuff like that. But if it's you versus another girl, because it doesn't happen so often, it almost becomes like a fight in itself. But yeah, if I could find some good girls to train with, I'd love to do it. But for now, the guys are pretty good. They beat me up pretty good, so it's fun.
Going into this fight against Jada, what do you believe are your main strengths?
I think that I beat her everywhere from what I've seen. I think obviously my wrestling and grappling is going to be miles ahead of her, but yeah, I think my striking's also up there. So I feel like I'm just going to go in there and take the fight as it comes. Like if the takedown presents itself, I'll take her down and finish her there. But if not, then I'm willing to stand and bang with her. I reckon that I can beat her there too. So I'm happy for whatever happens.
I know you got this fight coming up, but I'm pretty sure you have an eye on the rest of Australia and the women that are coming up in the scene. And you said that nobody really wants to fight you, but are there any other women out there in Australia that you would want to fight?
Yeah, at the moment I'm chasing Alex Chambers. Like I know she just got cut from the UFC, so if that fight would come, that would be great. We've messaged a couple of times looking for that fight, but I definitely want to go and beat some of like the girls with the big names. So yeah, her, and then there's obviously Nadia Kasim who fights in the UFC just now. So her as well. Anyone who's like better than me in the rankings, I'd love to fight. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you're willing to fight the top girls. A lot of the other people, they would just want to build their records, just stack up their record, with like just mid-level fighters and then try to get signed. But I'm glad that you're chasing the bigger names.
Yeah, so I think for me, because my career has been so like prolonged and stretched out, I think that I'm ready for those big fights straight away off the gate. So we'll take anything that comes. So yeah.
All right. Well, July 27th, main event, Eternal MMA 46, strawweight title. Thank you so much, Casey, for your
Thank you.
time, and good luck with your future and everything that's going on in your life.
Thank you so much.